No one has the balls to stand up like I'm doing right now. Let's stop the crap already. We're all Americans. We're all equal. I don't see black. I don't see Asian. I don't see anything but American.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. I want people to tell each other. Spread it out there. You can get my podcast on Spotify. You just Google in there, Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. I need people to listen up. Before we get into things here, I need everyone listening to do one thing. We all have to get together and save New York City against Mandami. We must stop Mandami, or New York City will never be the same. You know, I started this PAC, NYCABM.com. That's NYCABM.com. And all you got to do is you hit the donate button. I need people to help me. Here's what we'll be doing. Also, you can send a check to anyone but Mandami. It's 489 Fifth Avenue, 16th floor, New York, 117. Every dollar helps. And let me just let you know one thing. The mayoral campaign now, Eric Adams is out, Cuomo's in, and my friend Curtis is in also. And all of a sudden, everyone was going at each other. Eric Adams was going against Cuomo, and my friend Curtis is going against. We have one enemy, and that enemy is Mandami. Let me tell you what I've been doing with the NYCABM PAC. So I videotaped a couple of videotapes, which are on the site. Also, we're getting them out. Here's what we did. The first shot we did was I went down into the subway in Times Square. This is where Mandami says we have these storefronts that are vacant. Now, his big genius idea is to put mentally ill people in these storefronts. Let them stay there. Let them live there. And that will give them great access to the platforms, to the trains. So when they want to throw somebody in front of a train or stab somebody, they're right there. He's making the accessibility really good. That was one of the videos I made. The other video I made was I actually went up to 113th Street and Lenox Avenue in Harlem. I know the area very well. Many years ago, I used to be a cop and a detective up there. So there was this gang that was up there. Now, gangs are territorial. When there's a gang on 113th Street and Lenox area, that's their turf. They sell drugs off there. They do their things out of there. So I brought a film crew up there with me. I was in a suit like I always am. And this was where Mama Zell, the grandma that was shot to death with a stray bullet last year. So I walk up there, I saw this gang, and my film crew's getting nervous. I said, I'm going to go over here and talk to these young men. So I walk over there. Look, I've been a cop my whole life. You know bad guys. I know bad guys. I know killers. So I walk over there, and I guarantee there was 4 guns in the crowd. So I walk over, I said, my name's Bo Dietl. I'm a retired detective. I want to find out, you guys know anything about Mama Zell getting shot over here with a stray bullet from a gang? And they all looked at me strange. They said to themselves, they're looking at me, this guy's got this crazy white guy with a beard. It's got to be out of his mind. He's walking into our turf, into our gang, and all of a sudden, I said, you guys know anything about a shooting? All the faces, if looks could kill, I would have been dead. And I knew there was some guns in that crew. So as I backed away, I even say it on the video. I says, I think there was at least 4 guns over there. But this is a perfect example because Mandami wants to get rid of the gang database. If you get rid of the gang database, Mr. Mandami, this is what it's all about. They're the ones that are committing all the crimes out there. We know just last week, a little, how old was he? 13-year-old was shot in the head. He was a gang member. And the guy who shot him was a gang member, 16 years of age. The gangs are the ones that are doing all the shootings. And you fool, you know nothing about anything, Mandami. You want to get rid of the Dang Task Force, the SG, the response teams. You don't know anything. There is something pending in the United States. And I don't want to frighten people, but we have a lot of open borders for the last 4 years. And a lot of people come in, we don't know who they are. There's a lot of Al-Qaeda that are in our country now. And Al-Qaeda is the ones that want to see America go down. Al-Qaeda was the ones behind the attack on 9/11. I really feel as though this is going to happen in the near future. We have to be ready for it, and our police have to be supported and ready. But you know nothing about that, Mandummy. And right now you want to be the mayor. The other video I did, I went up to the South Bronx, Charlotte Street in the South Bronx. I remember from the 1970s, burnt out buildings. And what happens now? He wants to freeze where you can't get any raises with the rents. And what happens with the landlords? They can't fix their buildings. And the next thing is the buildings run down. They need new oil burners. They need this. And then they just move out and they have abandoned buildings, and that's what you're going to have. I actually interviewed a young man, a young black New Yorker, and I interviewed him. He was a landlord, hardworking man, family in Bedford-Stuyvesant. And he says to me, you know, Bo, I was able to buy 3 homes here in Bedford-Stuyvesant. My most important thing is my safety for my family. Also, my most important thing is supporting the police and also supporting mayors that understand New York. And I tell you right now, these videos I put together, I want people to go to NYCABM.com. Start looking at the videos. I'm going to be releasing them on social media and in forms of advertising. But I need people to contribute. I don't care how much you contribute. Remember, NYCABM.com. And I tell you right now, with Eric Adams out of the mayor's race, he's being praised for pulling the city above and putting the city above himself. That's bull crap. You know what? If Eric Adams was running a little higher, he wouldn't have been pulling out. I think he was tracking about 7 or 8%, clearing the lane for Andrew Cuomo to go head-to-head with Mamdani. You know what? Cuomo wasted no time. He's waiting he's talking about destructive extreme forces under Mamdani. And he's saying it's not too late to stop this socialist agenda. You're right. Stop his socialist agenda. But before that happens, Andrew, and I know you a long time, and I know your dad, I want to talk to you. I told your sister, Madeline, I want to meet with you. The way you can win, Andrew, is you've got to do a contrition. And what your contrition would be, you are our governor. You made a lot of mistakes. You've got to admit the mistakes. One of your big mistakes was releasing all these cop killers. One of your big mistakes was bail reform. And you made a mistake. Maybe you didn't know it when we had the COVID problem there. People died. And that's on people's heads. People want to see someone who's caring and can admit when they did wrong. You want to be the mayor of New York City? I tell you what, I want you to be the mayor over Mamdani, but before you become mayor, you have to let the people know you have a friggin' heart. You have to go to the people and say, you know what? I'm sorry for the things that happened when I was governor, but I'm here today for one reason. I can save New York City from this socialist communist. That's what you got to say, Andrew. And you got to say, I apologize to any families who had problems with what I did with COVID. And I also apologize to all the families of all these cop killers that I released. Also, all the victims from bail reform. You got to fall on the sword, Andrew. You got to let people know there's a different Andrew inside. If you care about New York City, you could do this contrition. I'll tell you the truth. I love Curtis Lewa. Can he win? Well, I know one thing. I will send him money, and I know another thing. I support Curtis Lewa in the sense that right now he's the only one that really believes in public safety. And here's the big one I like about him. He's honest. We know all about Eric Adams and his 40 thieves that were in charge of operations here. You know, Mamdani, on the other hand, is whining about Trump and billionaires. He's pretending none of this changes the outcome. Adams exit, but doubles down on extremism. And even though Adams is gone from the ballot, he's not done talking. Editorial boards say he did the right thing. Now, free from the campaign, he's taken a position to speak out as the city's moderate voice. Come on, Eric. All I know is a lot of investigations going on. $7 billion, Eric. Migrant money, no bid contract, $12 million a week for burnt out Roosevelt Hotel, 2 years, that's $1.6 billion, 101.5 billion, security. I didn't get any of that, and I didn't get it. 3 times the amount you're billing with kickbacks. Eric, zip your mouth. Thank Donald Trump for giving you a little pardon. Adams himself is talking about the bad forces in our politics. You were one of the bad forces, and you let me down, Eric Adams. So you know what? In Goodfellas, they said it. Bye-bye, dickhead. Bye-bye, dickhead. And there's a lot more to come on these investigations with this money. $7 billion. You know what I could do with $7 billion? I could hire a lot of cops, a lot of good cops. But what did we do with it? It wasn't me. I don't know. But 11 of your people all left right after January. Why? Why? So, Mr. Eric Adams, please go away. Okay. All I can say is I don't think Adams is done. I don't think he's done finally. It looks like he's going to look for the remainder time in office to keep hammering extremism. Mandami still holds the lead. Now, let's be honest. Adams dropping out helps Cuomo on paper, but Mandami is still sitting on a lead in the poll. This guy, this Mandami, he keeps his 44% and above. He never goes down. Cuomo, even with Adams out of the way, is still trailing Bailey. And here's the story. Here's where the real story is. Curtis Lewa. Curtis is the guy on the street every single day, riding the subways, leading patrols, speaking for regular New Yorkers who don't have lobbyists or billionaire PACs behind them. These so-called posters want to write them off, but can you ignore the movement Curtis has built? He connects everywhere I go with Curtis. Curtis is my friend 40-something years. I put a $10,000 reward that time when he got shot. He connects with the working class people, whether you're in Harlem, Chinatown, Spanish Harlem. And you know what? He has a relationship. Cuomo never will until he comes down to earth and becomes a human being. And let's face it, if New York's want a real alternative to Mandami, it's not coming from Albany insiders. It's coming from a street fighter like Curtis Lewa. Tax-deductible charity, political endorsement, $13 million. Now check this one out. $13 million for Mandami. Now let me tell you how Mandami gets his machine fueled. Sam Antar's investigation exposed how Soros' so-called charity funneled $13 million through Bend the Arc. All ended up with an endorsement for Mandami. Fake loans, recycle grants, same people running the show. Taxpayers subsidize over $500,000 of this scam. And none of this shows up in the New York City campaign finance filings. But make no mistake, this is indistinguishable from political spending. This is how the game is played. Tax-deductible dollars get laundered into political power, all to push a radical like Mandami. Let's call him Dummy. Bombshell union emails on Mandami's fitness, and there's another blow. A leaked email from Randy Weingarten, disgusting lady. She's the head of the Board of Education, disgusting lady. Top aide admitted Mandami lacks the experience to run New York. Even these lefty dummies know he can't run a friggin' Kool-Aid stand. Now you want to put a $15 billion budget, $115 billion budget in his hands? This is a fool. He's a child. He's a punk kid. And you want him to run the city. They even compared him to Chicago's Brandon Johnson, another idiot, who's been a total disaster. Crime, the city's in bankruptcy. I think New York City, hold on. I think we owe about $100 billion the city, I think, owes. When this jerk gets in there, that will have a quick double up. He's going to give everything away. Grocery stores, free buses. Where's the money coming from, dickhead? When even the left's own insiders are privately admitting Mandami isn't fit to lead. That's what you really need to know. Cuomo and Sliwa now have real ammo. Stop fighting each other. It's not just critics saying Mandami's unqualified. It's his supposed ally. The transit union endorsed Andrew Cuomo. And speaking of unions, Como just landed a big one. Like I just said, 20,000 member transit union. Their president, John Costa, ripped Mondami's free bus socialist fantasy, saying it's going to kill jobs. Look at Kansas City. Free fares led to over 100 layoffs. Como, on the other hand, can point to a proven record of transit investment as governor. This endorsement is a clear sign from organized labor. Mondami's policy just don't hurt riders. They threaten workers' livelihoods. Mondami's airbud hypocrisy? This is really beautiful. And here's the one that really exposed his double standards. Mondami rallies against Airbub in New York, but his family's been cashing in on luxury Airbub rentals in their Uganda compound for years. We're talking armed guards, private cooks, massages, monkeys in the garden, $300 a night, while Mondami poses as a struggling tenant in Queens. His family profits from high-end rentals abroad. That's not working class credibility. That's trust fund baby hypocrisy, and it's all BS. Mondami's silence on Hamas, that's just telling you what he feels. He supports these terrorists, and that's what it's all about. He's an anti-Semite. He hates the Jews, so he hates Israel. He hates Netanyahu. Hey, don't forget, Mondami still refused to denounce Hamas. He wouldn't even lie. He doesn't even want to say that. He broke his promise. He said he was going to apologize to the NYPD. When he's questioned on that, he doesn't want to say anything anymore. He's too scared of his socialist allies. And with Adams out, it's time for police unions. I tell everybody, my friends in the police union, why aren't they having a news conference? Every union support the fact that they are anti-Mondami. Step up, my unions, once and for all. All I know, one thing, he wants to gut the NYPD authority. You know, you got to understand something. What you have is with the NYPD, you have balances and checks. And when they investigate the conduct of a cop, the police commissioner has power. Then the commissioner has the final say on the discipline to the CCRB. Let me tell you, every police union in the city is sounding the alarm. The PBA, SBA, DEA, they all say this will destroy morale. Morale is destroyed. Trigger mass resignation, it's happening. Crippled recruitment, just look at the shape of the last recruitment class. All the qualifications have been dropped, and you can be fat, you can do this, you don't have, you need to be in shape to be a cop. This is straight from Mondami's DSA playbook. And the DSA is a terrorist group that is covering up now with this Democrats Society of America crap. If he gets a chance, he'll push a ballot measure to cement it into law. It's the end of policing as this city knows it. Now, while Mondami plays radical politics, the reality on the ground is simple. New Yorkers are getting less safe, and families are living with the consequence of crime every single day. All I can say is there was a Brooklyn mentor's son. He was trying to get kids the right way and all that. 24 years old. He was gunned down in front of his grandma's home near Prospect Park. Take this case. Take it. Eric Mason, a lifelong mentor, spent decades trying to steer kids away from violence. But tragically, it hit home. His 24-year-old son, Ramal Ingram, was gunned down outside his grandma's home in Flatbush, just blocks away from Prospect Park. The suspect, a 21-year-old Kindle Ikakunka, whatever the frig his name is charged with murder and held without bail. Oh, my God, he was held without bail. Woo, should have a party. Usually they can let him right out. Ramal wasn't in the streets. He was coaching basketball, mentoring kids, and even training to help manage young artists. His family describes it. This is a perfect youth here trying to help kids. His family describes him as respectful, funny, and a role model. Yet, the violence of this city that is very safe still found him. This is the brutal reality. Even families who dedicate their lives to fighting crime are not safe from it. And that's just how young men in their 20s, or even our children, are getting caught in this wave of violence. Let's remember that 13-year-old boy, supposedly he had a gang involvement. He was shot dead outside that Dunkin' Donuts. He was shot by a little scumbag 16-year-old suspect. Oh, he was held without bail, but he'll be released. Remember, hold on one thing. This law that we have in effect, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, they don't get charged as adults. Well, my thing is this. All I know, if you're 15, 16, 17, or 18, and you pull the trigger on a gun, kill somebody, you should be charged as adults. At age 16, you can understand serious decisions. Sanjay, the kid, he was a good student with his whole life ahead of him. But in broad daylight, in the middle of his neighborhood, his life was cut short. This case is part of a disturbing pattern. Gangs targeting and pulling teenagers into their groups and to making them killers and victims. All I know is one thing. Mandami wants to get rid of the gang databases. Mandami wants to get rid of any kind of intelligence. And again, we got rid of a lot of our intelligence against terrorism. Everybody's forgetting about terrorism. I'm not forgetting about. There are Al-Qaeda groups in America who are just planning on another attack, but they're going to make it big. A lot of body count. Maybe a multiple attack. Some little birdies tell me in my ears they might even dress up as cops, and they might go after the cops and the first responders. You heard it on my podcast today, October 1st. And I don't want to be right, but I feel as though it's coming, and we're not prepared. We have to prepare our police when it happens. And these local tragedies tie directly into the national picture. The same radicals shaping our politics here are glorifying terrorists and undermining law and order across America. Get this one. Tributes to cop killer. This is the cop killer, Asista Shakar. Her real name, Joanne Chesimard. I was a cop in the 1970s. I remember with the Black Liberation Army, where she came from. One year they killed 11. One year they killed 13. Cops sitting in their radio car, machine gun down. Cops shot in their back. All these criminals were part of this BLA that she was part of it. You know what? The Democratic Socialists of America, the Chicago Teachers Union, they paid tribute to cop killer. I'm so angry. Assis Shakar, her name is Joanne Chesimard. She murdered New York State trooper Warner Forrester. I was a cop then in 1973. She escaped prisoner, and that punk piece of garbage who's dead, God bless him. God spit on his soul. And she was allowed to go to Cuba and live in comfort in Cuba. My friend, drunk Governor Phil Murphy, you came off the bar. He actually blasted the tribute as shameful and depraved. Leaders on both sides condemned them, but one person stayed silent. Mikey Sherrill. She's a helicopter pilot who's running for governor. If you're going to stay quiet on an issue like this, you shouldn't become governor. And you know what? Your opponent I happen to like, and you should not be the governor, Mikey Sherrill. If you ain't got a ball bag, you may fly a helicopter. Thank you for your service. Go fly some helicopters around New York sightseeing. You should not be the governor of New Jersey. Her opponent nailed it. Everyone condemned it except my opponent. That's a weakness. That's politics over principle. Joanne Chesimard, the cop killer, was not a hero. All I can say, she was a terrorist. I was a cop during that era. The Black Liberation Army murdered dozens of officers in cold blood, and now radicals glorify her. If this is not shameful, how about the cops' families? How about this trooper from New Jersey? He has families. I'm sure he has grandchildren right now. They'll never see grandpa. His children will never see dad. And you know what? At least New Jersey stood strong this time. You know what the governor said? He refused to bring her body back to the U.S. Now, my drunk friend over there in New Jersey, that's a good thing. So maybe you did one good thing out of 100. That's a good thing, and I applaud you for that. You know what? Another thing is what's happening in our country. All of a sudden, Portland, Oregon, all of a sudden, the president is bringing troops in there. You know, what we're trying to do is restore order around our country. He wants people to use force if necessary to keep the good people, the innocent people, safe against scumbags like Antifa and left-wing agitators. Portland's Democratic mayor says 0 troops are needed. Really, dickhead? Then why don't you try and solve it yourself? You can't. The same has happened in Washington. The same that's happened in Chicago. You can't do it because you got no ball bags, and that's the problem. And your president takes an oath as president of the United States to protect Americans, and he's right. It's not like letting radicals take over America's cities. This is what leadership looked like. So, you know what? Here's the bottom line. Let's go back to Mandami's radical campaign, to kids getting gunned down around New York, and to radicals glorifying cop kills. It's here. It's law and order versus chaos extreme. Hold this. You know what it's all about? It's about you, you New Yorkers have a choice. If you want to bring this scumbag Mandami in as your mayor, you're going to find out what you're going to get. And you know what? There's not going to be enough money to pay for the services, and New York will be destroyed. I love this city. I beg you to tell relatives, everyone, I don't care who you vote for. You vote for Curtis or you vote for Como, but you got to vote against Mandami. And you know what? I need you with me. So, you know, my PAC, NYCABM.com. You know what that's about? Anyone but Mandami. That's what the PAC is. And all my commercials that I'm doing and all the videos I'm doing is just showing you what a New York will look like if this Mandami gets elected as mayor of New York City. And if you want to send a check, you can send it to 489 Fifth Avenue. It's anyone but Mandami, 489 Fifth Avenue, 16th floor. We need every bit of money so we could get the words out. You know, to sum up this whole podcast, please, when we leave here today, when you leave there today, tell your friends to look at this podcast. And please join me to save this city. My children, my grandchildren are in this city, and I must protect them and your family. To me, the most important thing in life is safety and public safety, and also the idea of you being scared. There's nobody should ever live life who are scared. And I want you to understand something. We must take this Mandami out. That's what we have to do. You know, that's it for One Tough Podcast. Please stay safe, strong, and God bless. Tell your friends, get to my podcast. It's Bo Dietl's One Tough Podcast. Until next week, please remember, spread the word. Let's take this guy out. Thank you very much.